Hello and welcome to the first of these big Premiership review videos where I look at all 5 games of the Gallagher Premiership, see how these teams are shaping up, look at the players and also particularly focus on the England qualified players as we build up to the November internationals, getting a really good picture of who's in form and who's not. So let's start off with probably the game of the round, Bath 38, Northampton 16, mainly because it is a rerun of the Premiership final last year. Albeit Northampton not quite at full strength because Mitchell's not playing. I mean, some of the England players have been rested who played a lot in the summer. Bath, a very settled team. Northampton losing some of their key players over the summer. Obviously, we've got Ludlam going, we've got Laws going. That leaves a big hole in the pack, which didn't quite seem to be filled. So let me know if you're a little bit worried about Northampton. They're going to be good. Are they going to be dominant? Are they going to win the Premiership? Well, they're going to need to do a bit better. Bath, they look really good. As I said, very settled, very strong off the bench as well. I mean, they were bringing on players like Guy Pepper, who they got off Newcastle, Coetzee, Duplessis, really big, strong forwards. They've still got Sam Underhill to come back, so they are going to be so strong, particularly up front. Yeah, plenty of pace and power in the backs as well, but that solid game up front. The control of Spencer, looking decent. The Saints pack, yep, not quite as much grunt, not as much experience. They're more ambitious, that's for sure, but light on power. Now, Steve Borthwick was watching this game live, and both sets of props could be England front rows. I'll pop the teams on the side periodically. Yogan of Northampton is a real promising prop, in fact, across the whole round. So many young English props, an area where we're very light, so this is really good. The more experienced Davidson is the other side of him, facing off against Stewart, facing off against Abano. All sorts of England props on show in the round. Second rows, no one really stood out. Back row, obviously, Northampton playing with a new look back row. Kemeny over from Australia, Pearson and Graham. Now, Pearson could be an England player in the future. No doubt he's really powerful, but he definitely can be a liability. In this game, in the first half, he put 3 shocking passes in a row. Not sure he's a natural ball handler. He did get better, that is for sure. And I guess the same could be said with Joe Thokanasiga. Such power, such pace, but his hands, his skills, I think simply aren't good enough, and this game again identified that. One player who is ready to roll for England is Ted Hill. He has absolutely got it. Great pace for his try, power. He's got experience now. His injuries hopefully are behind him. I mean, just imagine him and Chandler Cunningham South in the same 23, 2 6s, really powerful. Barbary, another powerful back row we saw flashes of, but, not quite enough there. Ollie Lawrence had a decent game with some good breaks. That's the good news. Ben Spencer, maybe player of the match, though. He's a general. He orders the team around. He can follow the play and support as well, but his box kicking is good. For me, if he plays for England, he's a starter. Don't see him as an impact sub. We saw that in the summer, I think, when he came on and didn't really change the game. Another maybe slightly disappointing performance, Finn Smith. Nothing really eye-catching there. The player for Northampton that really caught my eye was George Furbank. Excellent form, really good high ball counter-attacking. He is 100% England's number 1, and that's not going to change. Some players looked a bit off the pace. Ollie Slightholme couldn't get into the game, went off a bit early. Don't know if something's happening there, but let me know if you know what's going on. So my England watch list for that game: Ted Hill, Ben Spencer, George Furbank. Now on to Newcastle 3, Bristol 24. A very disappointing home defeat for Newcastle. They've said they want to be more competitive. Indeed, in this issue of the rugby paper, Kieran Bracken is saying they're going to be more competitive. I can't see how. I can't see how they're going to climb the table. The players aren't there on this form from this game. No chance. I'm pretty sure they're going to be bottom, and they're going to be preparing for quite an exciting playoff with the top team in the Championship. Maybe that's going to be Ealing Trailfinders. So I think that's what's destined for them in this game. Bristol wasn't their best game, but it was a good one to face Newcastle first out so they could get some kinks out. Still run at 100 miles an hour. Enough of it stuck in this game for an easy win. On the England watch list, nice and easy for me. Ellis Genge looking fresh, looking powerful. There's no wasted body fat on this guy here. He is all muscle. In his prime prop years, great news for England. Other guys I think that could look quite good. Gabriel O'Gray was good at hooker. He was a tourist in the summer for England. Harry Randall is an absolute live wire. We know that. He's the perfect scrum half for Bristol, super fast. Does he suit England when there's more box kicking? Well, maybe not, but he doesn't get to practice with Bristol either, so that's a bit of a downside. But if you want a high impact sub, he could absolutely be your man. Some centres are worth mentioning for Bristol. For England, James Williams looked very powerful. Van Rensburg will become available for England in the near future. And Gabriel Ibitoy is an outstanding wing. Is the rest of his game good enough? Not so sure, but certainly there's some players in there that are worth a look. For Newcastle, I know we've got Radwan, I know we've got Blamire in there, but they're going to need to be in a different team to really stand out. And I'm not sure they're going to get into the England team on those sorts of games. Then on to the really exciting encounter of Exeter 14, Leicester 17. What a smash and grab job from Leicester. I mean, they spend the majority of their time defending, with Exeter running all the phases of attack and doing pretty well, but they just couldn't get through that Leicester defence enough. Only a Shilcock drop goal avoided 0-0 at half-time. It was that tight. Exeter making all the play, but yeah, the Tigers really rock solid in defence, in set piece. I mean, Michael Checker looks like he fits Leicester Tigers really well. I think it was under Aaron Major a while ago. They tried to change Leicester Tigers and become a really open, expansive, high-passing team. Doesn't really suit their DNA. This does, and it gets the win. It's not the most exciting to watch for your neutral, but certainly for a Leicester fan, they're going to love that away result against Exeter, who are growing as a team. It's a young team coming through from last year. Lots of young English players, lots of young Welsh players. They're going to get better and better, but yeah, not good enough this time. Rob Baxter was in the news saying there were some crazy decisions from his young team, but yeah, they should get better at that. The talent is there, but they're going to need to execute a lot better, that is for sure. For England watch, you've got to say Emmanuel Fayobusu again made Stewart look a bit silly as he flat-foots him for the opening score. Exeter's second try was a mammoth long set phase play with, again, Emmanuel Fayobusu breaking a tackle, running off many phases. 14-3 that was with 20 minutes to go, so Exeter should really have got the win. They're going to be so gutted to lose from 14-3 with 20 to go. Then a big maul from Leicester gets them back into the game stereotypically. Even though Cater got sent off, Leicester score a pick and drive try from Tommy Rafael, because he was fantastic when he came on. So good. Wales have got an absolute star there. They're starting seven, no doubt. A couple of other England players on the watch list. We've got Josh Hodge starting at fullback. So many young England players starting in this round is so great. Goodness me, his goal kicking is fantastic. Strikes the ball so sweetly. We know his speed is absolutely effortless, that is for sure. If he were to be in an England team taking the kick to goal, that does take pressure off the 10. It's an extra option, that's for sure. Is he there yet? Not quite, but he's getting better, looks more consistent than last year, but time will tell. On the other side, we've got Jack Van Poortvliet, who's looking very strong in the box kicking game. You know, a good shout if you're playing that tight sort of game, but he's not going to get too much practice playing that faster type of game, which is kind of the opposite problem of Harry Randall, which is quite interesting. Ollie Chesham was looking great. He's the captain for Leicester as well. But goodness me, it was a shame. He seems to be knocked out cold in that game and headed off. So he's going to have a time on the sidelines just when he was back fit, looking good. Then on to Gloucester 26, Saracens 35. Got a bit closer towards the end, but I think Saracens were good value for this win. And I think along with Bath, they look the best of the round to me. Bath probably the strongest, then Saracens. So yeah, Gloucester came back, but Saracens were pretty much home and dry when that comeback happened. And Saracens were probably technically better in every area, maybe apart from Alex Lazowski, who seemed to be dropping everything, getting in a bit of aggro. Owen Farrell had his replacement out there, Fergus Burke from New Zealand, but I'm not quite sure he's of the same standard, so that could limit them a little bit. To start with, fortune did favour Saracens with a nice bounce of the ball going into Shagan's hands. I mean, he is one to watch as well. Both of those young wingers for Saracens, Elliott and Shagan, they could get there to international, maybe not yet. Now, Gloucester have tried to beef up their halfback options. We've got Thomas Williams starting at 9, Gareth Anscombe, and then the young Charlie Atkinson on the bench. Three very good players, although Anscombe had a bit of a shocker, to be honest. Shanked his first kick to touch, threw an interception pass, which was pretty soft. That wasn't great. Thomas Williams, however, played at an unbelievable pace, sometimes too fast for this Gloucester team. He's playing at international pace. They're trying to catch up, that's for sure. So maybe it's going to be Thomas Williams and Charlie Atkinson that will be the starting halfback pairing for Gloucester, we will see. Young Elliott showed good footwork to finish Sarri's second try, but Gloucester pounded the line to get one back before half-time. But then just after, Saracens secured the bonus point on their first foray of the second half. A really sharp line-out move. It was a no-jump maul which flew over. Gloucester weren't ready. You could tell from the upright body positions of all their forwards. George Skivington's going to be, really annoyed by that. And they got caught out with another trick line out at the end. A nice short ball back inside and another try there. So, yeah, it was a bonus point for Gloucester, but in the end, they did get very well beaten. They should get better, like I said, with the likes of Thomas Williams really pushing them there. On England Watch, I'm actually going to say my England Watch player is George Barton of Gloucester. He's a fly half, but he's got a bit more power. He's got some serious speed on the counter-attack and all the fly half skills. So that's an interesting one there as maybe a fly half /10. Unsurprisingly, for Saracens, no, the class acts look really good. Atoje look class, Dan look explosive, George lovely line out throwing and skills, Mercer's very quick and skillful with his hands, clever kicks, but is he powerful enough would be the question with him, but he's always wanting to get into the game. And some dark horses for England as well. Afolobi Fazabong, the under-20, started at tight head. So many young under-20s starting in this round. Really exciting. And like I said, the young Saracens wingers, Shagan and Elliott, are ones to watch. But yeah, George Barton, the one that stood out for me. Then we finished round one on a really exciting, super tight one in the rain. Sale just getting it done at home, 12-11. But Harlequins played pretty well. They'll be gutted, but a losing bonus point is something. Certainly the players couldn't really handle the wet conditions that well. Maybe apart from George Ford, he's the one who managed to take the ball flat to the line even in wet conditions. Looked really good. But defence was really king here. Big from both teams. Quins maybe not always known for that. Look very good with their defence. Their maul looked decent. So they'll be happy with that, apart from, of course, losing. Indeed, they turned down a shot at goal to try for a maul from 5 metres and flew over, splintering the Sale defence a little too easily. We had Welsh legend Lee Halfpenny starting fullback and taking the goal kicking, but goodness me, he sliced the first one about 30 metres wide, really bad, and his second one was struck really badly too, although it did go over, so maybe Marcus Smith won't lose his kicking slot, although I'm sure Halfpenny will be a lot better. Now, the beefed up Jack Kenningham was actually over the line from another maul, but it was called no try on the field and the TMO couldn't see anything else, so yeah, it was no try. So that was a tough one for Harlequins. But then on 60 minutes, Sale finally get into some really good attacking play, orchestrated by Ford as well. They didn't break the Harlequins line, but they forced them back and side to side, and they maybe created an overlap but couldn't quite take it. But eventually they got a penalty, went to a 5 metre maul and probably should have scored, but Will Evans steals the ball from the maul. He had a phenomenal game. And it was nearing 70 minutes and Quins had a big strong chance. Oscar Beard had burst a load of tackles up the middle. He'd been fielding high kicks really well all day, but he bashed through a load of players. I think he went through Dupree as well as one of them. With 10 minutes to go, Harlequins had another good chance. Oscar Beard busted up the middle, handing off players like Dupree on the way. Awesome run. Smith fades out from a pass outside forward, feeds Anianwu, who had played well all game, busting up the middle over the Curry brothers. Got smashed by the Curry brothers after that actually, but he'd been playing direct all game. This is when he needed to draw and give and create something, but he tucked it under one arm, didn't look at the pass. Maybe that's the weakness of his game that will keep him out of the England squad, but he's one to watch. So they couldn't score there either. Halfpenny and Ford then slot tricky penalty goals each to end the game, and Sale close it out for the close win. England watch, I was looking at Anianwu, but like I said, not too sure. Both Curry brothers look pretty heavy in the tackle, but nothing too outstanding. I think the outside centre for Harlequins, Luke Northmore, has actually a really good chance of starting for England. He's added some bulk and power to his frame. He looks quick, he looks fit. He could be an all-round 13 with Slade having surgery, so that could be one to watch. Good to see so many young English props, of course. We had Baxter against Apoko Fajor, both who are starting, which is fantastic. I think they'll both go on and win plenty of caps for England. Maybe it'll be this year, maybe next year for Apoko Fajor. We had Bevan Rodd as well, having a good go at Lamasatelli at the beginning there. So like I said, there were some good performances. Maybe the standout man for Harlequins was Will Evans. Will he get a shot at the open side for England? Will he be seen as too small again? And George Ford is the man for Sale. Flat to the line, tactical kicking, amazing stuff. He actually had a crossfield kick that nearly got a try there for Roebuck. Would have been a perfect day, but perfect off the kicking tee. So him and Will Evans are on the England watch list. So anyway, those are my thoughts on the first round of the Guinness Premiership. On the teams, I think we have probably Bath and Saracens at the top, Newcastle at the bottom, and the rest very close in the middle. And those are the players that I think are on the England watch list who have impressed in this round. Let me know what yours will be down below. Please like, please subscribe if you're into these sorts of videos, and I'll be back next week with a roundup of round 2 and the England watch list once again. Until then, I will see you later.